Here are the top roofing sales objections and how to overcome every single one. You're about to watch in the next 20 minutes a compilation video of all of the top videos where we grabbed the essence of the objection, taught you the objection, how to overcome it, and even sprinkled in some psychology to help you become an absolute all-star. Before we jump into this video, I want to say thank you and welcome back. My name is Adam Bensman, and I can't wait to help you become an absolute ace at overcoming these popular roofing sales objections, almost every single one that you will ever face. Be a hero, share this video with your team in your group chat, and please enjoy. Roofing sales is personal development in disguise, and the reward for growth is life-changing. I hope my content helps you create a richer life and bank account. I'll call you if we're interested is usually a trust thing. I'm going to say, hey, I understand that you guys have to think about this. It's a big decision, and I'm sure you want to be on the same page, which, by the way, you're just repeating back to them that you hear them. Then we want to move into, do you mind me asking, what is it that is most important to you when selecting a contractor for your home or selecting a roofer for your home? Now, when they say we'll call you if we're interested, we're asking directly what they're interested in, what's most important to you. Or, hey, do you mind me asking what's factoring into your decision? The reason I'm asking is simply so I can leave you with enough information to make that decision, even if it's not with me. So you see how what we did is we leaned into this by trying to uncover deeper. So what we're doing is removing that pressure and we're removing that forcefulness, saying, so I can help you make the best decision. And then again, the illusion of control, even if it's not with me, which, by the way, it's fact. You can't force their hand. So what this does is it builds trust. So that core issue of trust, we lean into the objection. We try to uncover and peel back the layers, keep them talking, and also strengthen the trust by saying, even if it's not with me, by removing the sales pressure. So generally speaking, we keep them talking. We can either overcome that on the spot or we have a backup plan. What's the backup plan? We set the appointment in the house. If you don't close a deal, you do not leave that house till the appointment's set. We want to use the assumptive close. Say, hey, I understand you want to call if you're interested. Totally understand. Pull our pen out from our shirt. We blade our stance, take a step closer so they can see the paper and say, and when would be a good time then for a friendly follow-up call so we can, or so I can, and then address what they share with you. Answer your questions about the other estimates. Compare our estimates side by side. Okay? See what happened after the insurance company came out. But the point is you have a set appointment that both parties have committed to. So I want to ask you, will your chances of connecting with that prospect increase or decrease? They're going to increase because you have a commitment to be on the phone to support them. My friend's a roofer. My brother's a contractor. I already had a roofer look at it. My builder's going to do it. And the cause is this. The homeowner, the real thing, what they mean is they don't think they need you. Why? Because they have a friend that does it. So why do they need you? So your number one goal, by the way, when you hear this objection, is to kind of rewire that customer's mind to get them to need your help. How do we do it? We reconstruct the little story in their mind of where they're at, right? Well, I need a new roof potentially. Well, I got a friend that's going to do it, so I'll deal with this on my own and have my friend do the roof. Doesn't work like that. Here's how. We need to reconfigure the difference between being quote unquote just a roofer versus a storm restoration contractor. So let's just go with the classic, my friend is a roofer. And I want to show you how that pieces together with this up. So I'm going to acknowledge them. Hey, totally understand your friend's a roofer. Acknowledge, okay? Reassure. You probably want your friend to do it because we all want to support our friends. I don't blame you for that. Okay, reassuring. Then we're going to overcome. Now, the reality is, Mr. Homeowner, even though your friend's a roofer, there's no disrespect to them. They're probably a really great roofer. But when you're dealing with an insurance claim, there's things that are going to be coming up for you that are far and above and beyond the experience of a traditional roofer. See, we are an insurance restoration contractor, and we work on behalf of homeowners just like you right now dealing with a claim. And there's a lot of nuances, a lot of things that are very unique about this process that are unlike like a car claim, for example. You don't just get a lump sum check and figure out how to do it. There's a process, and that process works like this. The insurance is going to come out. We need a trained eye. By the way, I've been on numerous roofs. In fact, one last week where the homeowner's friend that was a roofer showed up, said it was fine. I showed up, it was damaged. We called them the claim. It was a full replacement. Now, that's not to say the roofer's stupid at all. It just takes a trained eye to spot what's covered and what compromises a shingle. We've been trained up on this. We've done thousands of these projects. That's the first thing. Second thing, when we're dealing with this estimate, it's not truly an estimate. It's actually line item by line item, meaning the adjuster is going to come up objectively from the insurance company. They're going to say there's X fee to this and X fee to that, and they're going to enter these codes into a third-party software called Xactimate. That is going to generate a dollar amount based on material and labor rates for that zip code updated by month. So with all these fluctuations in material and labor due to everything that's going on, that price isn't something I'm actually concerned about. What I'm concerned about is getting the home addressed properly. Because what happens is homeowners think, oh, well, I can save money. They're doing themselves a disservice because they're shortchanging what should have been covered, and they're trying to get the roof done with less, which usually results in a cut rate install or cutting rates on products and trying to squeeze out some things. And then there's problems down the road. So whether you work with me or someone else, I highly recommend two things. One is a second opinion. And two, again, whether it's me or someone else, using an insurance restoration contractor, because there are things that might even come up in the process. So while I'm here, do you have any objection to a complimentary second opinion? I'll hop up there, take some photos and videos, and I'll show you what I find. I wanted you to see how we stitch this in by focusing on the core issue of establishing the need for you, the insurance restoration contractor, by using, again, this ARO formula. Ultimately, all of these objections we tackle the same way. When you're at the door, you knock and you hear no thanks or not interested, use it as a time to challenge yourself, because confidence is comfort. I'm going to repeat that and write that in your little journal. Confidence is comfort. When you're comfortable in yourself, you will be confident no matter what happens. So when someone says no thank you, use that as an opportunity to keep them talking at the door. Because guess what? You have literally nothing to lose. You can't get rejected anymore because you've already heard no. You have no sale, or you have a sale opportunity. Now there's a few different strategies to do that. One is to say, listen, I apologize for interrupting your day. Now, before I go, I just want to tell you that aspen tree that you guys have in front is absolutely stunning, or the garden in front, or the boat. Just divert and compliment. When you take that insult, essentially, that very quick, rude, not interested, or the peek behind the door, and then you start complimenting their home, their property, or their interests, things are going to transform for you, because there's a level of guilt that they feel, especially when you're kind. All right, step number 2, ask another question. Well, why not? Why aren't you interested? You should be interested. Can I share with you why you should be interested? You can ask a question, but I encourage you not to do it abrasive. So many people teach these really abrasive questions like, well, you should be interested, why aren't you? And you can say, listen, I totally understand you're not interested. While I'm here, all I wanted to ask was, you said you're not interested, or you said you're taken care of, or whatever the rejection is, and I'm going to use no thanks for right now. If someone opens the door and they say no thanks, and you say, no thanks to what? I haven't offered you anything yet. Make it a joke. Some people will stay there and stick around and soften it, but when you can inject humor into your questions, when you get rejected, to ask a question that's going to make them chuckle a little bit, you will see that some people on the human side are just going to be like, oh man, this guy ain't so bad, he ain't pushy. But people's guard are naturally up when they're in their home, because their home is their castle, all right? To recap, we have 1 is divert with a comment, and 2, inject some humor and ask a question. All right, now the final one is just to plead your case. And you can try all these angles. Every human is different, and they're going to react in different ways. But if they say no thanks or not interested, you can say, I totally understand. May I leave you with some information? I do believe you may want to be interested in this, because then we use the L from SLAP, which is letting them know why you are there and making it very familiar to their neighborhood or their town. So listen, I understand you're not interested. I do believe you may want to take a look at this because something familiar. I'm working with 3 homeowners on your street. I just helped John and Caroline get their home approved. And when you make it very familiar to them, you might pique back some interest, okay? So there are 3 different ways for you to take the no thanks or not interested at the door to develop your confidence as a challenge, as a game, to see how long you can stay talking with them. Because as you do that and you embrace the discomfort, you become more confident. And with confidence, you can handle any of these scenarios that are thrown your way. Everything is going just fine until the homeowner drops this bomb on you. My roof is fine. I haven't had any issues. Have you heard that one? Of course you had. If you've been in a few appointments, you know that this is one of the most common objections. So here, my friend, is how we're going to overcome this. So the first thing that we want to do is agree with your homeowner. I understand your roof is fine, you haven't had any issues. Clearly you haven't had any leaks. Acknowledging it, agreeing with them, okay? Then reassure. Now, I completely understand at the same time that if your roof's fine, why would you take action? Why would you do anything? if it's fine. This is completely normal thought. That's reassuring, right? Then we want to overcome, say, may I give you just some perspective based on my real world experience? And they'll say yes. And now is when I overcome and I try to give them a new frame or a new lens to see the condition of their roof. Say, Mr. Homeowner, I know this might sound a little outlandish, but it's going to make a good point for you, okay? So I hear this a lot. My roof is fine. I haven't had any issues. One of two things occurs at this point. Either the homeowner who I'm working with decides, hey, I should take advantage of this opportunity to be proactive and get my roof done, so I'm going to go ahead and do it. And they do. Or the other one is they say my roof is fine. And they enjoyed working with me. They enjoyed the way I communicated, the way I explained the process. And they say, hey, we're not going to do it now, but I'll call you when we decide to do something. So they don't. And then I get this phone call, and it's usually in the middle of the night, and they're freaking out because all of a sudden they had an issue spring up. And it's almost like cardiovascular disease, but of course without the horror behind it. But many of us think, my health is fine, everything's fine, until one day it's not. And it's been lurking this entire time, but we had no idea. And then all of a sudden, there it is. It's our appointment. It's a symptom. It's shortness of breath. Something came out of nowhere, or seemingly did, when later we find out that this has been something that has been growing, so to speak, for a period of time. And I know that your roof is nowhere as near as serious or relatable as your health or the health of a loved one. But my point is that many of us, the roof is fine, but as the roof ages, as the same thing happens with us humans, things come up and they seem to spring out of nowhere. You see how this works? So I acknowledge, reassure, overcome, tell the story to get their emotional mindset behind this. And then I'm going to come in with this logic. Mr. Homeowner, I just explained this, but I want to give you just a few more facts to help aid in your decision so you can make the decision that's best for you. Fact number one, the longer you wait to do your roof, the more risk you run into with things happening. That is a fact. No one can argue that. This isn't sleazy, pushy urgency tactics. This is real talk. If they wait, there's a higher likelihood. Fact number two, the shingles are not usually the area of concern. You don't get leaks in the middle of the field on a shingle unless there's a shiner or something, but very rarely do you see that. Normally it's a protrusion, pipe jack, a box vent, flashing, something like that. Those items tend to wear at a different rate than the shingles do. Okay? Fact. If there are any issues or leaks that come up, they become really expensive to fix because there could be insulation that's damaged or wet. We have to dry it out for safety, mold, especially in the southern or humid markets. And then if there's any staining, to do it right, you need to repaint the entire ceiling as far as it's connected so it all looks the same, because if it's old, it won't match. And then obviously if there's any damage to floors or furniture or carpeting, that adds up. So now the longer you wait, the higher the chance of a leak, the higher the chance of costly repairs. And here's one more. The cost of roofing goes up every single year between 3 and 7% minimum. So waiting, you have an increased risk of something happening, increased expense of fixing it, a lot more urgency, and a higher cost that you'll pay, period. It doesn't matter who comes out, you will pay more in the future. So we've explained the emotional side and reinforced it with the logic, and then we put the nail in the coffin. And it goes like this. As your roof has aged, Mr. Homeowner, if you decide to do anything, which is entirely your choice, I just want you to be well aware that cost goes up, your risk goes up, and the risk of repairs go up, okay? So besides that, here's the good news. Should you take action now, I want to share with you what those advantages are. Number one is the biggest one. It's going to be the cheapest it will be, period. If you have financing or discounts or anything available, you can mention those because that's another reason to take advantage now. Okay. Number two, you don't have to worry about rates going up because I can give you a great rate today. And then number three, once we do it, your roof for the next X number of years, whatever your labor warranty is, plug it in. Your roof is now covered for the next 7 years. So you literally have nothing to worry about. We own everything that we're putting up there and we stand behind it with our labor warranty and the manufacturer's warranty. So all those risks go out the window, your cost goes down, and you're going to pay less now than you will in the future. So acknowledge, reassure, overcome. Tell a story to break it apart from their roof so we get their emotions involved. And then we validate their feelings with fact. So that, my friends, is how we cover the roof is fine, I haven't had any issues objection. Remember when I first started selling and people would say, you know what, just leave your business card, we'll call you if I'm interested. Well, guess what? The phone never rings. It doesn't, not when you do it like this. So here's what you do. They say, hey, just leave your business card and I'll call you. So you know what? I actually just ran out of business cards. Do you have any objection if I take your name and number for a friendly follow-up call in a few days? And then I sit here silently. So you'll notice a few elements. Let's break this down word for word, body language piece, and then the silence piece, okay? Let's break the script down first. First is, do you have any objection? That's putting their guard down. You're waiting. Naturally, you know they're going to say no. So again, in this negative agreement, by using, do you have any objection? And they say no, they're actually agreeing to it. So that's the first element. Second part, if I take your name and number, you're asking specifically for what you need, which is, keywords here is objection. Do you have any objection? So by using it in this way, we know that a no actually means a yes, okay? Then we ask for their name and number. We are clear about exactly what we want from them, which is their name and number. Then we set the crystal clear expectations for a friendly follow-up call, which is the next piece. So do you have any objections? So they get to, from a guarded no to actually agreeing by saying no means yes. To get your name and number, you tell them exactly what you want. For a friendly follow-up call, this is going to come in a second, that you're not pestering them. And then here's the other piece, in a few days. So there's no mystery of what's going to happen. You're going to get their name and number. You're going to call when? In a few days, period. Here's how it all works. The third element is making sure they see your piece of paper and you sit here and you look down. You do not make eye contact. This is what we call an assumptive body language position, okay? And what I mean by assumptive is we're making the assumption that they will give you that information, their name and number. So by letting that awkward silence loom, do not flip and budge, because chances are they will give you the name and number. So my next question, once I get the name and number, is say, Peggy, when's a good time for a friendly follow-up call in a few days so I'm not catching you in the middle of supper or putting the kids down or anything? And she says, Wednesday. Great. Wednesday, and what time specifically would be best for you? 3 o'clock. Great. So I'm going to give you a friendly follow-up call, not in a few days because you just wrote it down, on Wednesday at whatever time I just said, because I already forgot it. So again, you restate that it's a friendly follow-up call at a certain date and time that you wrote down. Now, the final element is when you call Peggy on Wednesday at 4 p.m. or whatever it is, you use this exact line. Hey, Peggy, it's Adam here, the Roof Strategist. Just giving you a friendly follow-up call from when I was at your door the other Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and wanted to check in and then the and leads into whatever it is that we talked about. So maybe it was, just leave your info, or we don't know where we're at, or I want to talk with my husband. There's usually another objection. So we state on the opening call, this is a friendly follow-up call from when I was at your door on Tuesday, and then we talked about what comes next. I want 3 estimates. Mr. Homeowner, I don't care about the price of your roof. I'm going to say it again. I do not care about the price of your roof. Now, why do you think I say this to homeowners? I do this to get their attention, because it's true. Okay? And I'm going to show you right now, because what they're thinking is, what the heck? What do you mean you don't care? Of course you care about the price. Everyone cares about the price. But we don't. No one can. Not when you really think about it. So let's do this. Before, I want to quiz you. Do we ever negotiate with an insurance company over price? We never do. We never go to an insurance company and say, you owe me $3,000 more. No. We quantify it with an assessment, line item, starter, ridge cap, missed ice and water shield, whatever it is. We submit that to the insurance company. The dollar amount is a byproduct of what? The assessment. So listen, we never negotiate with an insurance company over price. We only care about the assessment of damage. Now, what do I mean by that? The assessment is done on the same software that the insurance company uses, which is Xactimate or Symbility. Mr. Homeowner, I want you to understand something. Even though this says an estimate, this will say like building estimate summary, it's not truly an estimate. What you'll find in here, Mr. Homeowner, is a series of line items. It's not really an estimate. It's based on the installation requirements and quantities. So it is an objective assessment, meaning installation requirements require that we pull off this building material, the shingles, the felt, the edge metal, the pipe jacks, the box vents, the ridge cap, everything comes off. Then we're going to install new, and it's going to be X feet of edge metal, X feet of step flashing, this many pipe jacks. Everything is itemized by quantities. So you end up with this, a list of the installation requirements, the quantities, and then the price. So what about the price? When I said I didn't care about the price, well, here's why I can say that. The industry standard price list on Xactimate is updated by month, by zip code, by third party. And that is designed to reflect fluctuations in material and labor costs. So, Mr. Homeowner, I don't even care if you blur out all the dollar amounts. All I'm concerned about is the assessment, because the rest happens automatically 100% beyond my or anyone else's control. That, my friend, is why I'm focused on the assessment and not the price. So I want to ask you, Mr. Homeowner, do you see why I'm 100% focused on assessing your roof and not the price? It is about what's up there, the installation requirements and the quantities, and that is it. That is all I care about. The rest comes out based on third-party control. I have no control over it.